Hello and welcome to Mama T Energy. I'm Tiara, aka Mama T, and I invite you on a journey to loving your life through stories, channeled messages, and energy work. I love life, and it is my mission to guide you and millions like us to discovering our passion for life. Let's open our hearts and dive in. Today, we are featuring Samantha Rae. She is a spiritual healer, psychic, and author. She specializes in helping clients align with their soul's purpose by understanding their unique cosmic blueprints and healing karmic cycles to step into their highest potential. Through her work in the Akashic Records, Samantha Rae facilitates and guides others on transformative journeys of self-discovery, deep soul healing, and profound spiritual alignment. Welcome, Samantha Rae. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
Yes. You know what? I've had this podcast for years. I don't even want to go into how many years at this point, but I don't think we've ever had anyone come in and talk about Akashic Records before. So can you
Really?
define? I know, right? That's so wild.
That's so wild.
Oh, and I'm like, I know so many people too that like work there, and we've just never had that conversation. So I'm really excited to introduce some people to, or the
Yeah.
audience to Akashic Records. So can you define that for us?
So it's basically just this universal library of just all information is the easiest way to describe it for somebody who is not familiar with it, right? So it consists of past, present, and future outcomes, things that have happened in the past, all the potential options for things that could happen in the future. This is for your soul's journey. It's for everyone's soul's journey. We all have our own unique library that holds this information. And it's just this really incredible place where you can extract information about, like, hey, I've got this issue going on in life, or I need guidance on this. And you can go access this, extract that information, and really like harness the information to guide you along your path in a more intentional way. And then, you can do healings within the records. So any cycles that you're stuck in, you can heal that within the records so you can move forward much more smoothly in life. And there's so much power in the records, and I've just found it to be the most profound tool in my spiritual toolbox. And I've experienced a lot of different avenues and stuff, and I think they're all quite powerful in and of themselves. But to me, I have found the most transformative, expedited results within the Akashics, and it's just continuing to blow my mind every time I work with them.
Mm, I love it. Can you talk about what it looks like for you to dive into the Akashic Records?
So I had started this journey with other healers that would do readings for me. So I had gotten familiar with different ways that people worked within the records, their own unique methodologies to that. And I started working with this like psychic business mentor of sorts. And she was able to break this down into such a simple way that I was like, I'm sorry, anybody can do this. Like, it's so easy, and people are like gatekeeping this information.
Mhm.
I'm like, I could teach somebody how to do this within a matter of minutes. And you don't have to have all these like certifications or the this or the that. And so I started playing around with it myself, and I was just getting really profound results and experiences where I was, extracting information about certain patterns in my life, like attracting, I don't know, like narcissists or whatever it is. Why is this situation keep coming up in my life? And, you go into the records and you're able to see whether it's maybe something in this lifetime that has occurred that has caused that ripple effect, or in a past life, where did this stem from in a past life? And you can heal it at that root cause. So I had been using this for myself quite a lot and really starting to like, or what I thought was perfect it. And once I started opening that up to working with clients on this, whole new level of just magic exploded. And I'm like astonished at what I've been able to do, what I'm starting to uncover. And I'm like, it just continues to blow my mind.
I love that, and I love your introduction into it. And I love the your explanation of it being simple and anyone can do it, because that's one of the things that I really love to empower people with is that, not that no one is special, everyone is special,
Right.
but we all have our own unique, I don't know, secret sauce to our own individuality. And yes, we all have our own ways of accessing the divine, Akashic
Mhm.
records, different modalities that we can tap into. And I love that you said you don't need a certification
Yeah.
is the other thing that really like stood out to me, because I think so often we get in our own heads about needing a degree, a
Mhm.
certification, needing some sort of like outside validation that's really just a piece of paper that costs a bunch of money, and somebody else saying that you studied in this particular
Right.
thing, right? And I think it's what's true embodiment of any particular understanding takes us actually practicing it. Because let's be
Mhm.
real, like I don't know about you, but for me, if I was to go to like a doctor, like I needed like neurosurgery or something like that, I wouldn't want someone that's just literally sat and read a book about it. I want them
Right.
to actively have practiced this before they touch my,
Absolutely.
my body. So with that being said, can you talk a little bit more about what it looks like for your clients to work with you?
So, one of the things that I've kind of honed in on through my own experiences, and I'm writing a book about this, and I've kind of worked out that this is kind of like my niche and what I am meant to be helping people through. So, my book is called Karmic Entanglement, and it's basically just explaining how intricately intertwined absolutely everything is within the universe, our cosmic blueprint profiles with our astrology, human design, numerology, all these things, our past lives, our soul family, like our karmic lessons, all of these different factors, and it's just woven together in such an insanely beautiful poetic way that there's no way any of it's a coincidence, right? And what I've been doing through my journey is kind of pinpointing these like cycles that I've been coming have been coming up time and time and time again, and I'm like, diving into these cosmic blueprints where I'm seeing that I have certain karmic debts, I have certain karmic patterns that I need to work through for my soul's journey, right? So then you're able to go into these past lives and extract like, where did this stem from? What is the soul lesson here? What's that soul contract? And be able to start breaking those to be able to move forward towards true manifestation, right? And then also being able to implement what you're learning through your everyday life. So you'll get thrown these tests from the universe to be like, oh, did you actually master that lesson or not? And when you show the universe that you have, you level up. And this is how we work towards like fulfillment and alignment and manifestation, and things just flow easier, right? So, what I've been working with clients on or uncovering, like when they're telling me they have all these issues, and I'm like, well, that's a karmic cycle, that's a karmic pattern that you have. And, I'm hearing different conversations about whatever situation's going on with their life. I'm like, this is a karmic relationship with this person, and I see that you're experiencing it in other areas of your life as well. So this is something that we would need to dive into to see where this stems, what's the past life connection, what's the soul contract. And as soon as you clear it, I mean, you get immediate results. I am not joking when I tell you how expedited my results have been personally recently working with these soul contracts, dissolving them, and then working with like quantum leaping and collapsing timelines. It's been like hours where I'll get an email or a call or something happens, and I'm like, did it just work that quickly? And it is like, it's insane. So I've been working with clients on pinpointing these karmic patterns and cycles and relationships, uncovering what it could be multiple past lives actually, dissolving those soul contracts to clear that energy and smooth things out so you can break free from that moving forward in your 3D reality, right? And then helping kind of collapse those timelines to get that exponential growth that we all want.
I love it. So can you walk us through like, I don't know, a money example for or something like simple for people to kind of grasp what it would look like?
Right. So, a lot of times, if we're struggling with money, there's like, it could be a number of different soul contracts with like scarcity mindset
Mm.
or like humble service or whatever. So, it could be, I've had stuff come up in my past lives where, it was in times of like famine and war, and you don't want to have more than somebody else because you feel guilty. Right.
Mm.
So, you push yourself like lower, play smaller because it's a very sensitive time, right? And then that creates this soul contract that you still have that energetic embodiment of it in this lifetime. So even though mentally you might be thinking, I want to be abundant, I deserve this, you still have that struggle, right? So going through and uncovering, where did this stem from in a past life, and then you extract all this information around it and you're like, okay, great. And then you tap into like your higher self. Am I able to release this contract? Is it time? Have I learned the lesson? And a lot of times, yes, it is. Like, there are old contracts that are ready to be released. So, you go in, you release the contract, and then things just start moving forward much smoother. People see your value, they want to pay you for your services, and you can start to shift that money energetically to where you are earning what you deserve, and there isn't that struggle any longer.
I love that. So thank you for kind of like walking us through it. And it's so funny because I literally like had another interview prior to this one and we were talking about um being spoiled. So that kind of felt like very similar, where it's like, oh, I have a contract with this idea of, it being wrong to just receive on some level. And then it's like, oh, but I can actually take the time to say, you know what? No, there's nothing wrong with that. And I can let it go and make them move forward and
Mm-hmm.
watch more just on top of more manifest. So it's very extraordinary to do this type of work for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed recently, I've been doing the work within the records, and then another woman that I follow that just, she's incredible. She was doing this like quantum leaping, quantum manifestation, timeline collapsing. I was doing the work in tandem, and then that's when I was seeing the exponential results that were just immediate. And I was like, oh, wow. Wow. So that's what I've really been honing in on recently, is not only breaking those soul contracts, but then working on collapsing those old timelines that are associated with it. Right.
Mhm.
So that's
That
where the magic's coming in.
that is where the miracles happen. Can you explain what like a quantum leap is in your by your definition?
Right. So this was something that kind of like eluded me for a while, like, because I love science. I have a math and science background. I love quantum physics. But I would hear all these like spiritual leaders and stuff talk about like quantum leaping and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I get the concept, but like, you're not explaining it to me where like tangibly I can take steps to make that make sense, right? It's just this like woo woo idea. So I finally, this healer that I was just mentioning, she explained it, and it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, that makes so much sense. So this is as simple as I can explain it. And I think this will help a lot of people understand as well. So basically, if you look at quantum physics, like, there are infinite number of possibilities and realities, and they're running in parallel with one another, right? So every thought that we have, every action that we take, everything could lead us in a different parallel reality, right? And down a different path. So when you're thinking about this like quantum shifting, what I've been doing is tapping into, okay, what does my highest self look like? Who is she? What is she doing? What does this look like? Right. And that's the energy we want to align with. So when you're thinking about quantum leaping, you get thrown these like tests, right, from the universe that are like, did you learn that lesson? So when you're kind of dissolving these soul contracts, the universe will then send you a test to see, have you learned the lesson? Have you leveled up? And this is where this quantum leaping comes in, is that if you make a decision that's aligned with your higher self, you're jumping into that timeline, right? But if you make this decision that kind of reverts back to your old ways, where you're like, oh, you're not addressing the situation as best as you can, you're jumping back to that old timeline, right? So
Mhm.
it's a matter of the actions and decisions that we make that are showing which timeline we're in, right? So when you come out of that old timeline. You're like, okay, I'm going to address this situation. I'm going to put my big girl pants on, as uncomfortable as this is going to be. I hate the confrontation of this conversation, but I know, I see that this is a test, right? And I want to align with my higher self. So you make the decision to have that uncomfortable conversation, stand up for yourself, put in your boundaries, whatever it is. And then by doing this, you start collapsing those old timelines. So you're not going to get those tests. You're going to start getting the better results that you're looking for. And essentially, that is that quantum shifting.
Beautiful. That is probably like the best way I've actually heard it described as well. Very simple. And oftentimes when I bring up like quantum leaping and the idea that all the timelines are happening right here, right
Mm-hmm.
now. The movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, I don't know if you've seen it, but when I first heard about quantum leaping, that movie came out and I thought it was divine timing because the way it's depicting, it's like Michelle Yeoh's character is like taps into, oh, this is the karate master version of me. This is the opera singing version of me. And she's like hopping around these different things. And I was like, huh, this is a very complex movie that I have to watch like 9 million times to fully like integrate. But this is exactly what I'm thinking about when I
Yeah.
think of
Oh,
quantum
amazing.
leaping and making all of these choices, because
Right.
that's exactly what it is. It's every choice that we make, even if it doesn't feel like it is an extraordinary choice or it's like a
Mm-hmm.
big deal thing. It it still puts us on the timeline of, am I in alignment or am I not in alignment? Like
Exactly.
for example, a simple thing that I noticed last night, I was on my couch and I was like, "Mm, it's time to go to bed." And then my human came in and was like, "No, no, but I want to like watch another episode of whatever." And I'll go after this next, and like I'm like a toddler just communicating within myself. And then I choose to stay and I stay on the couch and I immediately start falling asleep within like 5 minutes of starting the episode. And then I think I don't, nothing crazy. I feel like I tripped or I dropped something as I was getting up, and I was like, I bet this wouldn't have happened if I had just gotten off the couch and climbed into bed, and it would have been
Yeah.
fine, right? Not that
Yeah.
it was a huge crazy thing
Right.
to happen, but it was just like these little simple moments,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they stack on top of each other. So
Yeah.
the more that you keep ignoring that little nudge, that little
Mm-hmm.
alignment, that little test, the more
Right.
that you're just staying in the past timeline, the old
Yeah.
timeline. Yes,
And
yes.
I've noticed recently that, like, when you are starting to come out of like these patterns and the universe starts testing you really, really hard with it to see, like, have you really learned this lesson? Like, one of my biggest ones is like around boundaries and people kind of like walking all over me or using me for stuff and like all this stuff where I have to be really like vocal and stern about, no, this is not right for me type of situation. And I had one recently where, I've been getting better at this. I've been getting a lot better at this, to be honest. And, this test comes in with this lady that I was meant to do. We talked about collaborating on some kind of event together. And my intuition was just kicking off. Like, it was very early on in us planning this. And I was like, oof, no, this is off. This doesn't feel right. I need to pull the plug on this, right? And I very politely, professionally, I've had some time to reflect, blah, blah, blah. This isn't the right opportunity for me right now. Super polite, because that's the Libra in me. And she comes back trying to grasp at straws and keep me in. And maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. And I'm like, okay, again, this is the universe testing me. Are you going to be like, oh, okay, like we can change this? Or are you going to be like, no, this really isn't right for me? And again, very politely, I'm trying to explain that. And then she comes back at me so rude, so aggressive, this like toxic narcissism, like berating me, making me feel guilty, all these things. And I'm like, well, that just A, proves my intuition was right. But B, like it gets so much louder and more aggressive from the universe. I've noticed that people will just bark back like really bad at you when you're implementing these boundaries and you're trying to align with that higher self. So it's not easy work to do, because a lot of other people might just say, oh, you know what, let's continue on. So you have to really develop these like super strong like beliefs and boundaries and be like, no, I know my intuition is right. No, I know that's not in my highest interest. And it's just not easy work all the time.
Oh, for sure. And as a Libra as well, I totally I totally resonate with that because it's like the Libra always wants everyone to be happy. Every like want
Yeah.
to make everybody, I think if there was a people-pleasing zodiac sign, that would be the
Hello.
Libra. Hi, it's me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a gift and a curse.
Exactly. But that is also the strength, right? You can always
Mm,
set boundaries from a place of love. And that's what I've really leaned into is can I operate from love and gratitude? And it's up to the other person if they can receive the love in the words. And if they can't, that is their trigger and that is their records that they have to dive
yeah.
into and learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Can you speak more on what ways people can work with you and how they work with you?
So right now I'm just doing some one-on-one coaching. I'm working on getting some courses together. So for right now, it's just a really intimate one-on-one session. Um, so this is going to be basically around everything that I just mentioned. Like, let's work on figuring out what these karmic patterns are that are holding you back. What are these blocks in your life? Where are you now? Where are you trying to go? And doing some deep dive Akashic work to start to uncover that. And what I've noticed is you kind of want to be careful about not doing too much in one session because it's really deep energetic work and it could be a lot to integrate when that session is over. So being able to kind of map this out in like a series of maybe 2 to 3 sessions where, hey, we're going to work together for a month or 2 months and go from point A to point B, right? And everyone's going to be different. So we're going to start with that, kind of dissolving these contracts and then having the client really integrate this, like I'll give you homework to make sure that you're maintaining the results and you're not going back to that old timeline, right? So once that has been established, we can kind of move on to the next phase and go a little bit deeper into the Akashics and do the next step there. And again, more integration. And then from there, working on that quantum shifting and timeline collapsing and really working towards like these higher manifestations. So, what I would do is put together kind of a custom program for each client. And this would be something that would be a bit fluid to see, like, okay, let's start with this. We'll kind of assess and see where we are after these sessions and then kind of build from there. So it'd be a bit of a custom package. And what I'm also realizing is that this is just, it's constant work. Like, this isn't anything that like you're just going to be fixed after 2 months. So I want to develop, I've got the idea in my head that I'm trying to figure out the logistics for it, like a monthly membership, to be able to keep clients with me, working with me in this like VIP capacity where they can have access to me, texting me throughout the day and be like, hey, this came up. What do you think of this? And I can give that like in the moment feedback and kind of help support that growth. So that's something I'm working on all the logistics on now, but that's what I really want to figure out and make it accessible to people. But until then, it would be more of a customized package that we would figure out together.
Love that. That's beautiful. Because not everybody is the same. And so cookie
Mhm.
cutter doesn't necessarily work for everybody, especially when it's energetics and
Right.
spiritual and in that realm. So fantastic. I felt like there was another question that was coming through. Give me one moment. This is an extraordinary conversation. So actually, I feel called to do the tarot now.
Yeah.
Uh, so Samantha Rae, do you have a question that you would like specifically asked around the tarot, or do you want a general message? What are you thinking?
Just whatever the cards want to tell me, I am open.
All right, beautiful. Let's do it. It's like
And then this is something I incorporate into my sessions as well as getting further guidance from the tarot and oracles and stuff like that. So, kind of weaving in a few things to give people the most information.
that.
Love it.
That's exactly what the question was too. So that was perfect.
See, you and
I
I.
love it because it really was the conversation about layering in these different
Mhm.
modalities,
Yeah,
right? So,
absolutely.
you know, I do tarot, energy healing, all of these things.
Hmm.
And it's so beautiful. And that's one of the things that I love about us being individuals is that we all have had our own experiences, the knowledge that we've collected over the lifetimes, and being able to layer these different modalities together to create our own special, holistic way to approach life
Yeah,
and
I love it.
manifestation and creation. And with that being said, in terms of creation, I love it because two of the cards that came out are pentacles, and that's the cards of manifestation, the material,
Mhm.
right? And so we first card up is the Ace of Pentacles.
Oh,
And I really want to say this has to do with what you talked about with the membership, right? And the opportunity. This is like confirmation that what you're thinking about for creating a membership is on the right track.
amazing.
That is creating a new pathway for you. You also have the Page of Pentacles in alignment with that, which is also saying like giving you, um, asking you to kind of play around, right? Giving maybe
Mhm.
even, I don't know, doing some sort of trial run, maybe with your current clients to see if you could get a couple of them together to do like maybe a group coaching call or something
Mhm.
just to see what feels right for that, because that's going to open opportunities for you to get out of the mind and really
Yeah.
get into like an energetic connection with your business. And so letting it play out in the physical realm rather than just in the mental realm is going to
Mhm.
give you the lessons you need to make move forward in its creation. So
Oh, amazing. It's
yay.
wonderful. Yeah, I was actually updating my website today. It's been a bit of a daunting thing for me right now. And I'm like, ugh. And I finally got like the inspiration today. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. Once I start getting in there, the ideas will start flowing to me about how I want to piece this package together and the membership and stuff like that. So that's great news that that's all
Yes.
kind of aligned and timed very well.
Perfection. And that's for you guys too, listening in the audience, just
Mhm.
allowing yourself space and a place to play, I think is really important. Sometimes we get very caught up in the adulting and the
Right.
responsibility and the needing the money, needing the this, the that, the whatever to prove we're successful when really, spirit, soul, highest self is calling for play, calling for exploration, calling for you to
Right.
even trip up so you can learn the lesson because we're not perfect, we're human,
Yep.
right?
Yeah,
We're
exactly.
a soul in a fleshy meat bag.
That's a beautiful way to describe it.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So, is there
Thank you.
anything else that you would like to share with our audience today, Samantha Rae?
I don't think so. I think that was all very beautifully said.
Beautiful. Well, thank you all so much for listening. If anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
On my website, you can find all my contact information there. It's super easy. It's samantharae.co, and that's Ray, RAE.
Beautiful. And that's going to be listed in the show notes as well. So you can easily click on that for yourself. And of course, you can always go to mamateenergy.com to tap into all of the work that I have going for you. I trust that your spirit will guide you to where you need to be next. So with that, I will see you where I see you next. I love you so much.
Wonderful.
Wow.